Olivia was dropped off at the Ambassador Hotel by the hotel shuttle. The refined hotel stood out as one of the finest in the city, offering flawless service. A bellboy carefully placed her bags onto a cart, handed her a small stub receipt, and warmly welcomed her to the hotel. A doorman graciously tipped his hat in greeting and swung open the grand, gleaming brass door for Olivia, with the bellboy trailing at a respectful distance behind. Olivia strolled to the front desk, her gaze drifting as she searched for Daniel, hoping he was there, as she had asked in her letter. As she glanced around the expansive lobby, she noticed a handful of individuals unwinding in the plush, upholstered chairs and sofas that were thoughtfully placed throughout the area, yet her beloved husband was nowhere to be found. She felt a twinge of unease about Daniel's reaction when they finally met again, especially after his anger during their phone call while she was in Adrian Hayes' bed in Colombia a few weeks prior. Though he may have felt a surge of anger at first, she had liberated him from their marital ties during her 6-week journey, and she was certain that their neighbor Sophia Bennett had completely transformed his experience over the last month and a half. Sophia Bennett and her husband embraced a lifestyle of exploration, and Sophia Bennett possessed a captivating charm that drew attention wherever she appeared. Olivia frequently noticed men in the neighborhood staring unabashedly at Sophia Bennett as she walked by. Sophia Bennett made her desires for Daniel unmistakably evident, expressing them in a deeply passionate manner. Olivia wished for Daniel to appreciate the 6-week break from their marriage, yet he was reluctant to maintain intimacy with Sophia Bennett, as Olivia intended to end their mutual hall passes now that she had returned home. She felt that reigniting her romance with Daniel would become excessively complicated if another woman, particularly one as attractive as Sophia Bennett, entered the picture. Olivia experienced a pang of guilt as she recognized that she hadn't truly conversed with Daniel since that heated phone call she had taken while lying in bed with Adrian Hayes at the hotel in Colombia. The team had a hectic day filled with numerous surgeries on the agenda. She empathized with the underprivileged individuals of South America, who journeyed from distant places to seek care from talented doctors in the U.S. During the rare moments when the team could explore and Olivia and Adrian Hayes weren't occupied, she captured images of various attractions, including a tour of Mount Montserrat, and sent some of the standout photos to Daniel, along with messages detailing their activities and experiences. She felt a touch of annoyance that Daniel never took the time to acknowledge her messages. Perhaps he was still in pain. Olivia, on the other hand, felt assured that Daniel's love for her was absolute. Though healing his wounds might be a lengthy process, Olivia was confident that they would ultimately navigate their journey together, emerging with a more resilient marriage as they stepped into the next phase of their lives as empty nesters. She was determined that they would remain united for all their days to come. Over the past 6 weeks, Olivia's encounters with another man have undoubtedly deepened her appreciation for her devoted and steadfast husband. Although Adrian Hayes excelled in the art of intimacy, consistently pushing her limits, she realized that genuine affection was absent from their connection. Once their affair became public, she discovered that Adrian Hayes' arrogance and rudeness were more off-putting than the excitement she had initially felt. Adrian Hayes was assertive in their intimate moments and appeared to take pleasure in belittling her, particularly after he discovered that Daniel was aware of their secret relationship. Adrian Hayes manipulated her into engaging in activities she had never considered with Daniel, and the more degrading the acts, the greater the thrill Adrian Hayes derived from them. Adrian Hayes took pleasure in teasing Daniel about her marriage, prompting her to respond to questions such as, "Who do you prefer, mine, or that little one your husband has?" Under Adrian Hayes' influence, she spoke words that she didn't entirely embrace. Initially, those remarks fueled her enthusiasm, but as time passed, they began to annoy her and ultimately infuriate her. When she requested Adrian Hayes to cease the verbal disrespect, he appeared to relish in escalating his remarks, pushing them to even more contemptuous extremes, portraying Daniel as a weak, embarrassed husband who would eagerly submit to Adrian Hayes as a sort of sexual servant. Olivia stopped voicing her grievances, wishing that Adrian Hayes would tone down the incessant chatter, but her hopes were in vain. By the end of the trip, Olivia felt exploited, belittled, and degraded. As they sat in the Bogota airport, Olivia turned to Adrian Hayes and announced that she was putting an end to their affair, choosing instead to recommit herself to Daniel and her marriage. Adrian Hayes merely shrugged, his indifference palpable, and remarked, "You were a remarkable woman, but I grew weary of our affair, so I believe parting ways is truly the wisest choice. Relish in the embarrassment of your husband." He even swapped seats with Penny to avoid sitting next to Olivia during the lengthy flight back home. Olivia was puzzled by the depth of her feelings for Adrian Hayes that had lingered for so long. Now, she viewed him merely as a self-absorbed fool. She felt a wave of relief wash over her at the thought of not having to sit beside him on the flight back. Instead, she took a seat beside Penny on the journey home. They were both weary, their energy drained, resulting in a quiet demeanor as they spoke little throughout the lengthy journey. Penny revealed that Daniel had contacted her room, and he was aware of her infidelity with one of the doctors while still married to Josh. Fortunately, Daniel assured that he would keep Penny's escapades a secret from Josh. Penny understood that Josh had a zero tolerance for cheating. She felt a sense of relief at having narrowly escaped a close call, allowing her to truly savor the remainder of her time and romance in Bogota. As they stood by the baggage claim, a young woman approached Penny and inquired, "Are you Penny Washington?" Penny replied affirmatively, appearing a bit perplexed until the woman presented her with a sizable manila envelope and stated, "You have been served. Have a nice day." Olivia regarded the envelope with the caution one would reserve for a venomous snake, while the young woman stepped back and captured a photo of her clutching the envelope. Penny was overwhelmed with emotion and succumbed to tears. Olivia and the others on the trip attempted to comfort her, offering reassurances with phrases such as, "It will be all right. Perhaps you could discuss it with him and seek his forgiveness," among similar sentiments. Throughout it all, nearly everyone was aware that Penny's marriage to Josh was over. Penny ultimately found her composure, despite her attempts to reach Josh being thwarted. Uncertain of what lay ahead at home, Penny collected her bags and hailed an Uber to her parents' house, which was situated in the same town as her and Josh. As Olivia stood waiting for her luggage, her eyes darted around, scanning the area for anyone resembling a process server. She half expected to see someone lurking nearby, clutching a large envelope, ready to spring forth and deliver her own divorce papers. Although retrieving their luggage took some time, having already cleared customs at the earlier airport where they switched planes, there were no additional process servers in sight. Olivia felt assured that Daniel had settled down after his furious phone call and would soon arrive at the hotel. Olivia was eager to revive the passion and commitment she shared with Daniel, the one man who had captured her heart. As Olivia made her way to the hotel front desk, she contemplated the possibility of reigniting her romance with Daniel. She realized that her feelings for him had deepened, and she cherished both his strengths and flaws even more, particularly after those 6 weeks spent in Adrian Hayes' bed. After both she and Daniel received clean STD tests, she yearned for the warmth and reassurance of Daniel's embrace, wishing he would still be open to her return. The recollections of her tumultuous relationship with Dr. Adrian Hayes left her feeling devalued, akin to a cast-off object or a fated starlet compelled to engage in ever more degrading performances to make ends meet. Shaking off the negative thoughts, she donned a smile and eagerly anticipated her reunion with Daniel. She had quietly wished to see Daniel in the lobby, eagerly anticipating her arrival, but he was nowhere to be found by the time she arrived at the front desk. A young Hispanic clerk, clad in an elegant suit adorned with a small gold badge that read, "Jose Gomez Front Desk," glanced up from his computer screen and flashed a brilliant smile, revealing a set of perfectly white teeth as he greeted, "Welcome to the Ambassador Hotel. How can I assist you today?" "Hello, I wanted to touch base. A reservation should be under Olivia Carter," she informed the pleasant young man. The clerk offered a warm smile as he typed on his keyboard. "Let's see. I have your reservation noted for 1 night. Is that correct?" "Indeed, merely a single night. Your room is reserved on the 10th floor, offering a stunning view of the cityscape. It's genuinely pleasant. How many key cards do you require? I'm quite certain my husband will be accompanying me, so it would be best to provide me with 2 cards. Which credit card would you prefer to use for the room and any additional expenses during your stay?" Olivia delved into her purse and retrieved her Visa card, presenting it to the clerk. "Here it is. Thank you, madam. Allow me to handle this, and I'll ensure you reach your room smoothly. Our bellboy, Steve, is ready with your luggage and will gladly help you to your room." "Thanks a lot. I have a few bags, and since my husband isn't here yet to help me out, that would be wonderful." A bellboy stood a short distance off, poised with the luggage cart, prepared to guide her to her room. Initially, she intended for Adrian Hayes to give her a ride, but now that she had ended things with him, the hotel shuttle appeared to be a far more appealing option. Moreover, if Daniel had been waiting in the lobby, having Adrian Hayes drop her off could truly tarnish what was meant to be a lovely reunion. The clerk acknowledged with a nod as he slid Olivia's Visa card into the reader, then picked up a couple of blank key cards to begin preparing them. He cast a quick look at his screen, his expression darkening. "I regret to inform you, Ms. Carter, that the card has been declined. Is there another card you would prefer to use?" A chasm opened in Olivia's stomach. She had not required or utilized her credit cards in Bogota, as the Doctors Without Borders group covered living expenses, and Adrian Hayes purchased anything they needed during their time in town. She packed just 2 credit cards for the journey, her Visa and her Discover card. She secured the credit cards and her passport in the hotel room's safe to avoid any risk of theft. She pondered whether someone had managed to swipe her credit card number during her absence, a matter she would need to discuss with Daniel. "Absolutely. Do you accept Discover card?" Olivia inquired, while she passed her Discover card to the clerk, who then returned her Visa card. "Absolutely, ma'am. Allow me to process this card, and soon you'll be on your way to your room." At that moment, another couple arrived at the front desk to check in, patiently standing behind Olivia. Once more, the clerk proceeded with the check-in process and once more notified Olivia that the Discover card had been declined as well. When inquired about another card she might want to use, Olivia felt a twinge of embarrassment as the young couple in line seemed to grow increasingly impatient, standing behind someone who evidently struggled to settle her bill. Olivia responded to the clerk, stating that those are the only 2 cards she has on hand. "I've just come back after 6 weeks abroad, so I'm sure something has transpired. Allow me to take a moment to reach out to my husband so I can understand what transpired." The clerk replied, "Quite well. I trust that everything will turn out in your favor. Kindly inform me if there's any way I can assist you." At that moment, Olivia strolled over to a seating area while the young couple began their check-in procedure. The bellboy left Olivia's luggage behind, opting for another cart to help the young couple with their bags instead. Before long, Olivia found herself dismissed by the hotel staff. Olivia pulled her cell phone from her purse. She came to the understanding that she had switched it off during the flight and, amidst the chaos surrounding Penny at the airport, had neglected to turn the phone back on. She powered on her phone and input her passcode when prompted, assuming she had probably overlooked numerous messages from Daniel and others while in the air. She observed the absence of new messages on her phone, prompting her to open the phone app and tap the icon adjacent to Daniel's picture on her preferred screen. She observed that Adrian Hayes also occupied a spot on her favorite screen. She promised to erase Adrian Hayes' entry as soon as she finished her conversation with Daniel. When Olivia lifted the phone to her ear, she was met not with a familiar ringtone, but with an automated voice message informing her that Daniel's phone had been disconnected and was no longer in service. What on earth, Olivia thought, as she withdrew the phone from her ear and gazed at the screen. At that moment, a man she had seen seated in one of the lobby chairs upon her arrival at the hotel made his way toward her. "Pardon me, but are you Olivia Carter?" With a hint of surprise, she raised her gaze to the man in the sharp suit, her eyes reflecting a flicker of apprehension. "Indeed, I am Olivia. How may I assist you?" "No, ma'am, but I have something for you that your husband Daniel wanted you to receive," as I handed Olivia a large manila envelope. As Olivia accepted the envelope, the man nodded and said, "Have a nice day," before turning and making his way toward the hotel exit. Olivia trembled as she held the envelope, yet a sense of relief washed over her when she remembered that the man hadn't uttered the ominous phrase, "You have been served," nor did he capture a photo of her clutching the envelope. Maybe Daniel had an exciting surprise in store for her after all. Perhaps he preferred to rendezvous with her in a different location. Suddenly, Olivia felt a surge of curiosity about the contents of the envelope and hurried over to the nearest upholstered chair in the lobby to discover what lay within. With a sense of eager curiosity, Olivia opened the envelope and immediately noticed a typed letter nestled inside, accompanied by a smaller, firmer envelope. With a deep breath, she retrieved the letter and began to read. "Olivia, I am not afraid, but as your husband, your blatant neglect of our marriage and the promises we made has shattered my heart. You seem to have rationalized your actions by assuming that I engaged in a tumultuous relationship with Deidre during our time in Iraq serving our nation. I did not. I must confess that there was a time when our actions would not have met the standards of a supportive partner. This occurred upon our return to base immediately following the ambush of our convoy by insurgents. Deidre and I were fortunate to escape unscathed that day, in contrast to numerous others among our ranks. As we made our way back, a rush of fear and adrenaline coursed through us, leaving us exhilarated and grateful to have survived. After the debriefing, I led Deidre back to her quarters. Just as I was about to step away, she pulled me into a tight embrace, tears streaming down her face, the weight of the day's events crashing down on her. As I offered her comfort, she drew me closer, our lips meeting in a fervent kiss. In an unexpected turn, we found ourselves lost in a passionate embrace, reminiscent of youthful desire, fully aware that our feelings were taking control. I wish I had possessed the fortitude to withstand her overtures. Nevertheless, we did not engage in penetrative intimacy. This regrettable encounter unfolded in a moment of passion, immediately following a deeply distressing event, in stark contrast to your meticulously orchestrated liaisons. I wish to clarify that you are the only woman I have been intimate with since our marriage over 20 years ago. I doubt you can claim otherwise. Besides Adrian Hayes, I am certain that you engaged in an affair during my time away on assignment in Korea. I was told that you had a meeting with a man at the Red Roof Inn near the hospital. I understand that you parked there because of the construction, but you consistently showed up well in advance of your scheduled shift. I delved into your affair by employing a private investigator. The private investigator couldn't uncover your secret lover, yet we both understand the truth. You betrayed me. You are aware of the numerous occasions when you violated our promises. For some inexplicable reason, I chose to overlook the Red Roof incident. I was absent, and it seems you had desires that you sought to satisfy with another. Your subtlety was commendable. You never paraded the affair before me or anyone else. I also verified that you ended the Red Roof situation immediately upon my return home, no longer showing up at the parking lot hours ahead of your shift. Your letter indicates that you have altered our relationship dynamics, allowing one partner to act independently without seeking the other's approval or consent in advance. Incredible idea. I never ended up getting involved with Sophia Bennett, as the idea of you somewhat offering her to me made me feel uneasy. I did, however, extend an invitation to her and Marcus Bennett for dinner while you were away. It was quite a shock to hear from Sophia Bennett that you had been involved with Dr. Adrian Hayes and were interested in inviting us into the swinger lifestyle. Additionally, it's important to mention that Sophia Bennett believed you had informed me about your activities, and she was quite disappointed to find out that you hadn't discussed it with me prior. Both she and Marcus Bennett expressed that infidelity did not align with the principles of their open marriage. It appears that embracing a swinging lifestyle requires absolute openness and honesty with your partner as the foundational principle. It goes without saying that Sophia Bennett and Marcus Bennett are quite displeased with you and do not approve of your somewhat self-serving actions. It seems that, with the new rules in place, you felt it unnecessary to consult me before reaching your decision. It would have been nice to be aware that we are in a unique arrangement, even though you are the only one currently exploring intimacy beyond our marriage. Understanding the risks associated with Colombia and recognizing the exceptional care provided by Dr. Adrian Hayes, I took it upon myself to settle and subsequently cancel all of our shared credit cards. I certainly wouldn't want anyone to exploit you, would I? Do you recall the time, a few years back, when we consulted with the estate planning attorney regarding our wills and related documents? I had nearly overlooked the fact that she also arranged a durable power of attorney for each of us, which we both signed. Following our conversation in Adrian Hayes' hotel room, I've made the decision to update my life insurance beneficiaries from you to the children. While sifting through our files, I came across the POAs. Can you believe it? The POAs remained active and functioned flawlessly. This one-sided approach to decision-making is quite appealing to me. Thank you. I utilized the power of attorney that you signed on a single occasion, if that's all right with you. Following my use of it, I completely shredded both of the POAs to ensure they cannot be utilized again. It was my pleasure. I required the POA to facilitate the sale of our house and cars, as they were co-owned by both of us. Rest assured, I fulfilled my responsibilities and secured favorable prices for you. Recall that young couple, Rod and Emily Wellman, who were so fond of our house and showed interest in it due to their need for more space for their expanding family? Can you believe it? They have taken ownership of our former residence and now call it their home. They were absolutely thrilled. I informed them that you were abroad on a lengthy assignment, which prevented you from attending the closing. Consequently, you were unable to convey your heartfelt wishes for them to enjoy the house as much as we did. Come on over. I'm certain they would be eager to express their gratitude to you. The process of selling cars was remarkably straightforward. I recently visited a few used car lots to evaluate the prices. They handed over cash and assured me that my car would sell quickly. I felt a sense of joy for them. I acquired a new cell phone along with a fresh plan from a different carrier, and I have canceled my line from our family plan. I'm having trouble remembering my new phone number. I might share it with you at some point. You'll be pleased to hear that I've chosen not to end things with your unfaithful self. Divorces don't concern me. Remarriage was never in my plans. I utilized a portion of the funds from the house and car sales to engage a private investigator in Colombia to obtain some compromising audio and photos of you and the doctor. Perhaps they ought to name the program Physicians Lacking Ethics. Regarding your infidelity, I was unaware that you had such a penchant for moral decay. I certainly hope you thoroughly rinsed your mouth with an ample amount of mouthwash. I felt it was important that others were aware of your antics, so I decided to share a copy of the private investigator report along with the photos with the HR department at your hospital. On Friday, as you and Dr. Adrian Hayes soared through the skies on your way home, I had a delightful conversation with a wonderful lady, Ms. Washington, the HR manager at the hospital. She was incredulous about my tale and appeared rather distressed. I informed her of my intention to take legal action against the hospital for neglecting to uphold the moralities clause in the employment contracts, which ultimately led to the downfall of my marriage. I informed Ms. Washington that a courier would be delivering her copies of the enclosed photos and the private investigator report first thing Monday morning. I informed her that I would include a brief signed contract in her package in which I would consent to absolve the hospital of any liability regarding your extracurricular activities, provided they agreed to terminate the employment of both you and the good doctor for cause, and also agreed not to furnish either of you with positive references for future employment opportunities. She appeared quite keen on ensuring the hospital steered clear of any liability, as it could damage both their reputation and financial standing. Your return on Monday promises to be quite intriguing. Just as you neglected to inform me about our new open relationship before embarking on your 6-week adventure with Doc Smarty Pants, I also failed to mention that I've always dreamed of exploring the vast roads of this great country before age catches up with me. I intend to embark on a lengthy road trip adventure. It will require a minimum of a year, and probably much more, to experience everything on my bucket list. I'm borrowing a lovely RV from a friend of mine who served, so don't bother looking for me through state registrations since the vehicle isn't registered in my name. When it comes to RV life, I really had to simplify things to make it all fit. I only took what was absolutely necessary and loaded up the RV. I eliminated all the rest. I considered reaching out to check if there was anything you wished to retain, but I hesitated to intrude. The one time I reached out to you in Colombia, you two seemed rather irritated with my presence, so I hesitated to call again and disrupt the atmosphere. I parted with all the furniture and my tools, donated some of my clothes along with yours, and held a small bon voyage bonfire to incinerate any lingering memories. These cherished memories encompass our wedding photos, your beautiful wedding dress, and snapshots of the two of us together. I have preserved the photos of the children as they grew up. Who would have thought that incinerating photographs could produce such a cloud of smoke? Ralph from next door approached to check on things when he noticed the smoke rising from the backyard. I mentioned to him that I was planning a small bonfire, just this once, if that's all right with you. He was completely unfazed. Fortunately, with our open relationship in place, I can enjoy female companionship during my travels without any hesitation. It's fortunate that my time in the military instilled in me the importance of maintaining physical fitness. Based on Sophia Bennett's remarks, I believe I can still draw the attention of the ladies. I informed the children about your activities and that I would be taking a long trip. They felt a sense of sorrow, yet grasped my perspective. They requested updates and photos from my travels, and I assured them I'd keep them informed as long as they refrained from sharing my new phone number with you. They reached a consensus. Rest assured, I assured them that I would reach out to you just as often and at least as many times as you contacted me during your time in Colombia with Dr. Adrian Hayes. I believe I neglected to mention that the number was 0. I'm starting my extended vacation the day you return. I intend to take my extended solo vacation just once, if that's all right with you. I anticipate that traveling will come with a hefty price tag, so I've set aside the funds from selling the house and cars, along with what I withdrew from our bank accounts. I kept your retirement account intact, but I decided to cash out of my own and accepted the early withdrawal penalty. This open relationship concept is certainly enlightening. I can accept it if you grow weary of this and choose to part ways for good, perhaps to unite with the esteemed doctor. Adrian Hayes, you have the option to proceed with a divorce on the basis of abandonment, as I anticipate being away for at least a year. I will not challenge the divorce, nor will I alter the reasons to infidelity. I've gathered all I could from our marriage: 2 amazing kids, a handful of good memories, and a nice sum of money. I also possess digital copies of the photographs captured by the private investigators in Colombia. I've already communicated with our family, friends, and co-workers to ensure they understand my decision and don't assume I left without justification. I shared some select photos with each email in our contact lists and informed everyone that I would be embarking on a lengthy solo vacation across the country. I carefully included you in the email so you can review what I shared the next time you check your inbox. In a moment of unexpected generosity, I decided to include a $500 Visa gift card in the smaller envelope along with this letter. I trust you will value the sentiment behind it. This letter is probably the only correspondence you'll get from me, so I'm sharing it with you just this once, if that's all right. Thus, we have arrived at the conclusion of today's tale. Did it align with your expectations, or did it veer off in an unexpected direction? I would love to know what you think. Feel free to express your thoughts in the comments below, and let's spark a discussion. If this tale captivated your attention, be sure to give that like button a tap. If you're new to our space or haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now is the ideal moment to become part of our community. Discover new and engaging tales each day. Hit that subscribe button and enable notifications to stay updated on all the latest adventures. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to our next encounter.